Hello, my dear friends. First, I would like to apologize for the whiffed prediction about the OG. Oh, such a disappointment. Ah, well, but we have to move on. Now, when Group A is almost done, and the last team that's playing right now is Vitality, and I hope they're gonna close it. So let's move to Group B. Hopefully, this time I'm not gonna whiff, because if I do it twice in a row, oh, it's gonna be very painful. But so far, with the results that I know, Uh, I will be giving up the first position to this lovely person right there, Jiro 3. Congrats, my man. You have quite decent squad for this event. And I'm not sure if you're gonna end up in top 3% or you taking the top 1% points. But anyway, even top 3%, it's 18 points, and I'm only gain like one in best case scenario, so you'll be taking over. Everyone else is still probably around the same position, and I think I'm quite safe for the second spot right now. So I need to do well in this event. So, with all this said, let's jump in. I don't think we have to spend too much time on identifying our favorites, like G2 players, Astralis, and most likely it's gonna be either Ants or Entropic that's gonna be in top 4. I'm not convinced about NIP because they're surprising me all the time, but to be fair, I have no clue how they're gonna play against the OPA with such a high stakes. But well, I guess we have to wait and see. So NIP is quite a gamble pick. Uh, Everyone else from underneath there is meh. The only team that I would consider expecting an upset is Spirit because they haven't really participated in many events, but they've been practicing. So it's probably going to be the same scenario as Force. They can go 3-1 or 3-2, but if they go like 2-3, no one's going to be surprised. So with that said, let's just jump to predictions. G2 gonna beat no probs. Players should easily deal with the Turkish squad. Here is the point where Endpoint potentially can surprise if they're not really throwing many rounds and NIP is not playing full power because there's a technically an upset where Endpoint can claim this one, but most likely it's still going to be NIP. Then Entropic, well, Juan Flatro and all the boys are quite decent squad, quite similar to Crazy back in the days, but I still believe in Entropic. They should be claiming this one. Sprout, we've seen how Sprout played in ESL event, so nothing much to say. Claims should go through. Astralis, if config is in good shape and Farlig is probably a little bit more integrated, everything should be okay. Then Spirit against Ents. Well, Ents just played the final, but as I said, Spirit is a kind of potential upset to one of these teams. They, Spirit can actually take this one, but I would be still more on the Ents side. I believe the Ents probably gonna take this one still. Then this game is 50-50, but for some reason I believe in the French boys. They should take this one. Then round two, G2 probably gonna beat them with no problem. Then plays against Ents. Uh, because Ents were on a weak side of the bracket and they go to the final, it doesn't mean they're gonna beat players. So in best of one, depending on the map, most likely they're gonna end up playing Inferno or uh, I wouldn't say Vertigo, but it's still a chance. And Ancient looks like the probably the scenario where both teams wouldn't mind to play it, but because of the seeding, players probably gonna get like the CT side, and I doubt the Ants wants to play that, and most likely it's gonna be Inferno. Then Astralis against NIP. I have to give credit to Astralis in this one. For some reason, I think that Astralis is gonna have quite a strong event over here. I hope they're not gonna fluke like OG did, especially after Heroic qualified 3-0. That should be extra motivation for Astralis boys. I'm pretty sure they're gonna try really, really hard to go 3-0. And if everything goes like this, then it's quite possible. Then Entropic against Flames. Uh, I still have to give a little bit more credit to Entropic guys. They look like more solid team than Flames. So then 0-1 teams. Sinners against Polish squad. I have to go with Sinners. Then I have to go with Spirit over here. And this game is 50-50, but Endpoint looks like slight favorite over here. And then Sprout against the One Flatro squad. That's an interesting one, but Sprout is already on tier 2, while Bad News Deagles, let's call them like this, Bad News Deagles, not Eagles. Uh, they are trying to get in there, but I'm not sure they can beat Sprout. Maybe, but they still play like mix, and Sprout is a team. Well, I prefer a team. Then if everything ends up like this, then these are the games that we have the 2-0, 3-0 spot. Oh, G2 against Astralis. As I said, Astralis is gonna try their best, but as a G2 supporter, I have to go with G2, especially G2 we're having a long boot camp right now. And yeah, so far from what I've seen, they should be prepared. And if it's going to be 2-0, I'm not going to be surprised. So I would say it's going to be 2-0 for G2. Players against Entropic. Entropic, haven't really seen much from them recently, but I'm kind of disappointed with their results. But players so far still should go on top of this. Still should go on top. Then NIP against Sprout. It should be a win for NIP. Then Flames against Endpoint. I hope the Endpoint can upset, but this looks like Flames anyway. Then Ants against Sinners. Ants any time of day. Then French squad against Russian gang. Oh, I have to go with Spirit. I still have faith in Spirit. Then Ave against Anonyma. And Ave is like a really experienced Russian mix. They're still solid, but I think they're gonna go all three, and Polish squad gonna have a chance to pull out a miracle. And Deagles against Sangal. I don't believe in two Turkish teams in a major, and I think Sangal is the team that's gonna go all three. So I'm going with the bad news Deagles. Yeah. Then in a game for 2-1 against Spirit and Entropic, in my opinion, Entropic are slight favorites, but Spirit have the edge of not playing any events, and they can come prepared. And I would go with Spirit for some reason. I have the faith that Spirit's gonna do it. Then ends against an IP. Well, we've seen recent results. Ends, I would say Ends gonna do it again. Ends gonna beat them one more time. And in the fight between Astralis and Flames, I'm gonna go with Astralis anytime of the day. French squad against the Balkans. I have to go with French team over here. They prove themselves they're quite decent. Then Sprout against Anonymo. I have to go with Sprout. Then Sinners against Endpoint. Oh, I still believe in Endpoint over here. Then these are our spots on the line. Let's start with Endpoint against Entropic. Still gonna go for Entropic. Heat gonna beat Sprout. And look, I'm not gonna be surprised to see an upset coming out from Flames over here, but I put Flames in the same category as OG. And if they manage to fluke in any of these games, well, not really fluke, but let's say if they if they go all the way as nothing special, then at the end they're not gonna qualify. They have to pull some great games. I would say for them to qualify as 3-1, they have to beat Entropic, and then they have to play Astralis, which means if they don't beat Astralis, they're gonna end up playing ENCE against. And if they don't beat ENCE, they can end up playing Sinus, but most likely no. Most likely no. So I don't really have much faith in them. And exactly for this reason, I have to go with NIP qualifying. And Flames, most likely, they're gonna sell their players what expected to be done after the major, but still they haven't. And with this said, let's jump to my fantasy team, and I'll explain my logic why. This is how it looks. I'm taking Monacy as a sniper. Inters because he's the only valuable player in terms of the points slash money that I spend on him. If players go 3-0, in that case, any of Gambit players can just pop off in the games, and Inters will be just the guy that, well, he's gonna sit there at the back, bring me some points, nothing too much crazy, but well, it is what it is. Then because I believe in Astralis qualifying in 3-1 fashion, most likely it's gonna be a config that will have to carry them through it. So I have to take him. Then I have to go for Alexei because he's my filler, and I'm not sure which role he's gonna play, but he's really crucial player for G2, and I have faith that G2 gonna go 3-0 as well. So if everything goes as planned, G2 and play is gonna go 3-0, Astralis 3-1, and at the end of the day, these four players gonna secure the 3-0 3-1 spot, and then my gamble of this event is Magix because he's technically supposed to be second best player in Spirit after Dexter. Dexter is a main sniper, so main star of the team. But for the for the second spot on that team, it has to be Magix. He's a really solid player, really good defender, anchor, and for that price that he's listed in the fantasy, and considering that their path is quite simple. Even if they lose, they still have to like play the weak teams, and at the end of the day, they still have a really good chance to qualify. They really have a solid squad right now. Also added some young players, and it's basically like Force, but with just slightly better players, with a slightly weaker group. So I would say that I have to go with Spirit, even if they end up playing these styles. They still can play for the 3-1 spot with NIP, and I won't be surprised to see Spirit winning and still going 3-1. Even if it's 3-2, they still gonna have to face like endpoint, and well, it might be endpoint for Spirit, but most likely endpoint for endpoint. So yeah, so this is my team. I'm not gonna go crazy over the boosters or roles because it's all quite simple over here, but still, it's gonna be quite a tough event. And with the result of current event, as I said already, I'm dropping out most likely to second position. But still, still long way to go. And approximately 5 events left to the end of the fantasy, maybe 7. I would say it's 7, but for some reason I'm not gonna be surprised if it's gonna be 5, because there will be 3 events for the major. Then we're most likely gonna have fantasy for Blast, ESL, EM Dallas, and yeah, and Cologne. So yeah, that's like 6 events left max, maybe 7, but Pro League is in August already. So yeah, that's it for now. Thanks everyone for staying around. And one more time, I apologize to OG pickers. We got screwed. Stay safe, have a good day, and enjoy the games.